Hey y'all. Normally for my intro, I try to keep it light and funny in an attempt to try to get a laugh out of you. But for the movie that I'm reviewing this week, Sound of Freedom, to be honest, that didn't quite feel right to approach the intro that way. Now, I'm not trying to be Johnny Raincloud, but I want to set the right tone. Sound of Freedom is like reviewing Schindler's List or The Passion of the Christ. Interestingly enough, which also starred Jim Caviezel, in that it's a somber movie with an important message. So, as a result, I'm going to show it the reverent respect that I think it deserves and maintain that as I go through this episode. So, get comfortable and let's explore this very important movie together. So, on with the show.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Hey there, my movie maniacs, my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica. I am your humble host, Van Ebert, and I will be your conductor for this train trip into Sound of Freedom. Yes, Sound of Freedom, what's turning out to be kind of a controversial movie, but a very popular movie. Controversial with some of the media, that is. But yeah, we'll get right into it. But let me ask you real quick here to follow or subscribe to this channel, and then also like this video, and then hit that notification bell, would you? To get notifications when there's a brand new episode of Movies America just for you, okay? And then get in the comments as well. I want to hear from you. Especially about this movie, Sound of Freedom, okay? And so this movie, to get into Sound of Freedom, it's been a long time coming in order to get it into this theater or into theaters, because this movie actually was completed way back in 2018. So let me tell you this right off the bat. You do need to see this movie, okay? I'm not going to wait to my final thoughts later to let you know that you need to see this movie. You definitely need to see this movie. That is a definite fact, okay? But since this is a movie review show, I must review and analyze this movie just from a filmmaking standpoint, from a movie-making perspective. That being said, no matter what criticisms I have about the technical side of the movie, that should not, I repeat, that should not dissuade you from seeing Sound of Freedom, okay? Also, if you really don't want to give yourself an excuse to go to see this movie, you can actually Google free Sound of Freedom tickets, something like that, and it should direct you to the studio's website, Angel Studios, the website for that studios, where you can get free tickets there, thanks to people that have paid it forward and have contributed money to pay for tickets for others that may not be able to afford to go check out Sound of Freedom. But also on that Angels Studio website, if you want to be on the other end of that and pay it forward and help pay for others to get a free ticket to this movie, most definitely you can do that. But yeah, just Google free Sound of Freedom tickets, and you'll find it right there. But so a little bit about the synopsis of this movie, okay? I'm not going to ruin it or spoil it for you. But what it involves is, or who it involves, I should say, it's a better way of putting it. So it involves Jim Caviezel And he plays Tim Ballard. And Tim Ballard was a Homeland Security agent in real life, okay? And his job with Homeland Security was to go out and capture pedophiles, okay? Child traffickers, scum of the earth. That was his job, to go out there and capture them. And, as you would imagine, that job weighs on you quite a bit because as this movie portrays, you've actually got to watch like hours and hours of the sick, disgusting, depraved footage that you would imagine a pedophile has right now. Thankfully, this movie, it's PG-13. Even if it was rated R, they wouldn't show this, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, you don't see any child erotic footage or anything like that. Nothing like that. Again, it's a PG-13 movie, but your imagination will run wild, okay, as you're watching this. So Tim Ballard, he does this for a living, and it's just weighing on him. And at one point in the movie, a fellow agent is like, do you ever save any kids? And Tim Ballard honestly can't say that he has. They just keep capturing these sick pedophiles, these sick scumbags, but they don't save any kids. And that's weighing on him, right? And so he gets to a point where he walks into his boss's office and he just says, hey, you know what? I've got to save kids. Particularly like later on in the movie, he helps save this one child, this one young boy, Miguel, and Miguel reveals that his sister was also taken by these sick child traffickers, and he begs Tim to save his sister. And I think her name is Rocio. And so, yeah, that weighs on his heart. And he goes into his boss's office and says, you know what, I got to take some time. I got to take some time in order to go down to Colombia and start tracking this girl down and see if I can save her. And his boss does at first agree to it. And then that's kind of our jumping off point to the rest of the synopsis, where Tim Ballard goes down to Colombia. He sets up a sting. He meets some contacts down there in order to try to save this little girl and then other kids as well. Okay, but so the frame in that this movie fits within is the world, the sick, disgusting world of child trafficking. Okay, human trafficking overall, but it laser focuses in on child trafficking in this movie. And so that is the foundation for the rest of our movie. So, as I mentioned before, the movie really is all about Tim Ballard going and trying to save, in particular, this little girl, but try to save as many victims of child trafficking as he can, okay? So, that's enough about the synopsis right there. You'll get the rest when you see this movie, and you should see this movie. It's clear that Jim Caviezel is passionate about revealing and bringing awareness to the scourge, the evil scourge that is human trafficking, particularly child trafficking. I mean, he's all over the place on various shows promoting Sound of Freedom and shining a light on this very serious issue. In spite of that passion, though, I wish he would have brought more of that passion into his performance playing Tim Ballard. I mean, I have to hand it to him. He does knock it out of the park when he's playing the stoic, somber, serious Homeland Security agent, that part of the performance. However, unfortunately, I wasn't buying his performance in the scenes where he had to pretend that he's a trafficker who's, scuzzy and sleazy and pretty pleased with himself and his malevolence. Now, with that part of the movie, he's got to act charismatically and having more of that passion that we see in his interviews on all those TV shows would have helped. Now, you can tell that he's trying, but he's just too stiff, too rigid. A character like that, like the sick, disgusting child trafficker, that character would be more loose and unpredictable. Again, though, his acting when he's playing the agent and he's playing like the comforter to Miguel is tip top. I mean, he conveyed real emotion in those scenes. Concern for Miguel and sorrow for what Miguel has been through, anguish for the disgusting, depraved evil that he has to watch hours and hours of as part of doing his job. Now, when Jim Caviezel playing Tim Ballard says God's children are not for sale, it hits. It really, really does. Now, Tim Ballard personally wanted Caviezel to play him after he saw Caviezel's excellent performance in The Count of Monte Cristo from, I believe, like 2002, 2003. It also had a young Henry Cavill in that movie. And Caviezel says that this performance as Tim Ballard is the second most important performance of his career. Second, of course, to his portrayal of Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ. Now, this show is spoiler-free, but the show on this Thursday night, Movies Merica spoiler warning, will definitely not be spoiler-free. I'm going to spoil you rotten, okay? It's going to get very spoilery, and it's going to be all spoilery, all about Sound of Freedom on this Thursday night's episode of Movies Merica spoiler warning. And it's going to be this Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, so that's 6 Central, 5 Mountain, and then finally 4 Pacific, okay? And you can get there by just searching for Movies Merica on Rumble or YouTube, okay? Word of caution, though, with YouTube is when you search for Movies Merica, it tries to search for Movies America. Wrong, okay? So what you have to do with YouTube, because YouTube is kind of moronic when you search for things, is right underneath where you typed in specifically Movies Merica, there's a blurb that says search instead for Movies Merica. Click that. And that'll jostle YouTube out of its cryo sleep to actually give you results based on what you actually typed in there, okay? Or you could also just wait till Thursday and then go to my Twitter page at Movies Merica, and the links will be right there waiting for you to click on to watch the show this Thursday night for Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. And this show just lets you get really in-depth about this movie, Sound of Freedom, okay? It's your chance to live chat with me, and then I can live chat back with you. And you can ask me questions about the movie. You can put comments on there. You can live chat comments to me. What's your favorite part of the movie? Who's your favorite character? Maybe something you didn't like about the movie. Doesn't even have to be about this movie. You could live chat to me about any other movie you want, okay? Hey, even put a crap emoji or a poop emoji in the live chat if you want. Just as long as you reach out, as long as we have the lines of communication going back and forth, okay? So, yeah, you can just live chat with me during that Movies Merica spoiler warning show on Rumble or YouTube, okay? And, so I hope to have you join me there because I definitely want to talk in particular about this movie, Sound of Freedom, with you. Incredible. This movie, Sound of Freedom, beat Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on the 4th of July. So, Sound of Freedom grossed $14,242,063 that day compared to Dial of Destiny's $11,698,989, okay? An independent movie with a $14.5 million budget beats a tentpole summer movie with at least a $300 million budget. Okay? On top of that, Sound of Freedom beats a movie released from a studio that used to own the rights to Sound of Freedom and was determined to let it sit on the shelf forever like the Ark of the Covenant at the end of Raiders, okay? For some reason, Disney didn't want this movie to see the light of day. Now, the left-wing media, okay, I'll just say the media to simplify it. The media will laser focus on the fact that it was the 5th day of Dial of Destiny's release, okay? And it was the first day for The Sound of Freedom there. But what they will absolutely go radio silent about is that Dial of Destiny was in almost 2,000 more theaters that day than Sound of Freedom was, okay? Yeah, how convenient that they just omit that crucial piece of info, all right? You don't hear one syllable from Satan's sound system about the 2,000 more theaters. Not at all, not a peep. Also remember, Dial of Destiny spent at least $150 million in marketing to promote their movie. Sound of Freedom probably spent like $150 to promote their movie. Okay, I'm sure they spent a little bit more than that, but nowhere near Indiana Jones' marketing budget. I mean, Dial of Destiny even paid to have their movie promoted over the sound system on the New York City subway system, okay? The closest that Sound of Freedom came to doing something like that is Mel Gibson making a viral video promoting Sound of Freedom. Now, Gibson did that because he cares about this issue and Jim Caviezel. They didn't have to do anything, like Sound of Freedom didn't have to do anything like, say, DC felt that they had to do, where they reached out to random celebrities and begged them to put out a video or put out a statement saying that The Flash was the greatest movie they've ever seen. Sound of Freedom didn't have to do anything like that. Bill Camp as Vampiro, which sounds like a character from Dusk Till Dawn, is a standout amongst the supporting cast. Now, it's true that he's got the showier role, but he takes it and runs with it. Now, to me, his character has that same energy as like Gary Busey in Point Break or James Woods in Salvador. He's a good guy, literally almost on a mission from God, okay, who has a slightly sleazy charisma that helps rope in the most depraved of humanity. Now, the scene where he explains why he ended his days as a rich, drug-soaked hedonist and became a force for good it's emotionally powerful. It is. You'll see. Now, he delivers that monologue with just so much conviction and heartbreak. Now, his conversion story reminds me of like a more sordid version of the conversion of Paul in the desert from the Bible. And Vampiro, he is a crucial part of Tim Ballard's sting operation to catch these sick child trafficking pukes. Unfortunately for Caviezel, Camp's scenery-chewing, scene-stealing performances pronounces just how wooden Caviezel's performance is in some scenes. Okay, not most scenes, but just some scenes. And he's not wooden in all, but he is in just some scenes. Now, it reminds me of how wooden Kevin Costner's acting seemed compared to a colossus of charisma like Sean Connery in The Untouchables. Now, I get that Caviezel's role was written to be more stoic, more subdued, but that doesn't cover for how too low energy he was in a few scenes here and there, okay? Just a few scenes here and there, not even most of the movie, okay? Now, if Bill Camp looks familiar, that's because he's been in some pretty big movies with some pretty big stars. Now, he was in like Hostiles with Christian Bale, The Killing of a Sacred Deer with Colin Farrell. He was also in Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. To me, Camp is the acting MVP in this movie. All right, my movie maniacs, my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Let me just take a time out to ask you to subscribe or follow this channel, and then also like this video if you would. The buttons are just right down there. Just click on them. They're calling to you. You know they are calling to you, enticing you, okay? And then also hit the notification bell down there as well to get notified when there is a brand new, piping hot, fresh episode of Movies America just for you, okay? And then also get down in the comments right below this episode if you would, because I want to hear from you, especially about Sound of Freedom, but any of the episodes that are out there. I definitely want to hear from you on any of the episodes. Down in the comments section, comment to your heart's desire about whatever you want, okay? That'd be fantastic, and I'll check those and respond back to you, okay? And then also get to tdpn.locals.com. That's our website where we have great content, like videos and blogs and articles about movies and entertainment, politics, hot button issues, cocktail recipes, you name it. And you're going to see it in a dynamic, kinetic way that you don't see stuff like that on any other website. Trust me. So that's tdpn.locals.com. And right now, if you put in promo code TDPN, as in Till Death Podcast Network, you're going to get a free month of tdpn.locals.com. Pretty sweet, huh? Yeah. Also, I have to let you guys know that we do have the BANNY'S out there. The BANNY'S, what is the BANNY'S? Well, the BANNY'S is our awards show that we will be having here in the future, but we've got 6 categories that you have to vote for, okay? And we've got categories like the most canceled TV movie star, the most canceled sports media personality, stuff like that. So there's 6 categories, just 6 categories that you can vote for. And you just got to go in and click on the link in the description down below for the BANNY'S, okay? And yeah, just vote in that. It takes you like a minute, okay? And it's fun. It's fun. It's fun categories and some fun options to vote for in the BANNY'S voting. And you can vote as often as you like, okay? Get in there, go crazy. Vote as often as you like. And again, it takes like a minute tops, okay? All right, hey, let's get on with this show. Much of the media does not like this movie. They either put in special effort to make sure they never mention this movie, or they take it to a whole new depraved level, much like The Guardian, the appropriately named website Jezebel, and Rolling Stone magazine. They try to make some association with QAnon and the far right to this movie. I don't know why. Now, the only reason that the far right association is made is because it's only right-leaning media outlets that allow Chimp Caviezel and anybody else associated with Sound of Freedom on their shows, okay? Now, don't even come at me with the QAnon thing. I've never met one conservative, not one conservative, that had ever heard of QAnon until Democrats started mentioning QAnon, okay? Now, that sounds like some championship-level projecting to me. Am I right? However, Sound of Freedom is turning out to be quite the black light at the crime scene, okay? It's revealing all sorts of incriminating evidence. Exhibit A, Your Honor, is the website The Guardian. More specifically, a piece of crap named Charles Bramesco, who writes for The Guardian, who wrote an article with the headline, and I quote, Sound of Freedom, the QAnon-adjacent thriller seducing America. One of the lines describing Sound of Freedom in this self-incriminating article is this, and I quote, takes care to be the most anodyne version of itself, anodyne meaning harmless, doesn't spark controversy, okay? Takes care to be the most anodyne version of itself, all while giving those in the know just enough to latch onto. Now, if your first instinct is this guy is trying to get the dogs off of his and all his pervy friends' scent, your first instinct would be correct, okay? Because your first instinct is usually the correct one, as we all know, right? Now, Exhibit B, Your Honor, is the website Jezebel, whose smear campaign article has this headline, and I quote again, Sound of Freedom is an anti-child trafficking fantasy fit for QAnon. Now, in this article, they bring the heavy-handed sarcasm or the heavy-handed snark and just dismiss Jim Caviezel's line of God's children are not for sale as just being some self-important phrase, self-important phrase or statement that he makes right there. So now the whole article is basically questioning the movie's existence and definitely shows that they are not too happy about more light being shown on the sick, twisted world of child trafficking. It too pathetically tries to cobble together some kind of connection between this movie and QAnon. I know, desperate, sad, and pathetic. They're very, very desperate. Finally, Your Honor, I'd like to give you or introduce Exhibit C into evidence. I give you Rolling Stone, the magazine that crapped the bed on the Duke lacrosse story, the magazine that praised the borderline child porn movie called Cuties on Netflix, and put one of the Boston Marathon bombers on the cover of their magazine like he was Harry Styles. Their headline from Rolling Stone magazine, and I quote, "Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms." Their subheading is even better. Check this out. And I quote, "The QAnon-tinged thriller about child trafficking is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer." Yeah, that's definitely on brand for Rolling Stone. Your Honor, this movie is doing a fantastic job at bringing out the fans of child trafficking out into the light. The prosecution rests. Well, I guess that intro is my clue to bring you a little brew review time, all right? And let's get right to this episode's beer, okay, that I'm going to feature for you. So, uno momento. All right, my friends, my family, okay, my loyal viewers. Right here, our lucky brew for this episode is a Trappist Rochefort 10. And this comes to us from our friends in Rochefort, Belgium. And it is basically what they consider a quadruple style beer, okay? And it's got, like 11.3% alcohol by volume, something like that. So it packs a wallop, okay, for a beer, that is, okay? And it's brewed with like two different malts, like a Pils and a caramel malt. And it's got this like prominent taste of, I'd say, well, obviously since it's partly brewed with caramel malt, it's got a caramel taste to it, chocolate. It's got some like herbal flourishes, some herbal touches to it, and I'd say like ripe fruits. Okay, it's kind of like so chocolate, caramel, ripe fruits, some herbal touches, that kind of thing. That's the impression that I get from the flavor from this. But yeah, well, I'm tired of talking about it, so I'd rather drink it. So here we go. Yes, thank you, Belgium. All right. So yeah, get yourself some Trappist Rochefort 10. Now, you're probably not going to find this in like your grocery store. You might have to go to some place like gopuff.com or drizzly.com, something like that. But yeah, it definitely is worth it. I don't know if you probably can't see that. All right. There it is. Okay. Hey, that's been brew review time. Is this movie a woke after-school special? Well, I'll tell you, this is going to be a lightning-fast segment because this movie is refreshingly not woke at all. Now, you know it's 100% woke-free when you've got Rolling Stone magazine throwing major, major shade at you. There couldn't be a more unwoke movie if Alex Jones directed it, okay? Now, it is trying to wake you up to how serious the tragedy of child trafficking is, but now will you stay awake and tell your family and friends about this movie and maybe even at least contribute a little money to help combat child trafficking? That's up to you. All right, everybody. Let me just do you a solid and let you know about a great product called Nature Clear Recovery Powder. And you may be asking, what is Nature Clear Recovery Powder? Well, I will tell you, friend. It is a powder that you can take to prevent a hangover, okay? And all you have to do is, with this Nature Clear packet, all you have to do is just pour this into 12 ounces of water, a bottle of water, typical bottle of water, okay? And you can even throw in maybe some like lemonade Mio in with it to make it even tastier. And all you got to do is just drink that before you go out and have yourself a good time. And now if you are out in the middle of having that good time and you realize, I forgot to take my Nature Clear, well, have no fear there, party goer. All you have to do is when you get home and you're crawling out of the Uber and you're crawling up to your front door, well, crawl a little bit further, just a little further, to your pantry and grab your packet of Nature Clear and just take it there, okay? And then just, pass out, maybe not so peacefully, in your bed. And then the next morning, you're not going to have a hangover because you took your Nature Clear, right? Yeah. Now, it also helps you recover from smoking and vaping as well. So this stuff is like an all-around Swiss Army knife of recovery, okay? So how do you get this? Well, you just got to click on the link in the description, the Nature Clear link in the description, and get in there and pick out whatever you want from Nature Clear, and then get it in the cart. And then in the cart, in the promo code field, just put in the promo code MOVIES, and you're going to get 25% off your next order. Yes, you heard me right. I did not stutter. 25% off your next order of Nature Clear Recovery Powder. All right, get it done. Get some. Let's move on. Aaron Gleason writes in his excellent review of this movie on the Federalist website about the values that each child is uniquely beloved by God. And he quotes, and I quote, "These values aren't universally understood and accepted. Ballard's story is proof of that. According to the movie, the child sex industry brings in $150 billion every year. This industry is powerful and is not nearly as niche as we would like to think it is. While its visible activists are milquetoast perverts we can easily jail, the invisible perpetrators are the ones who do the real damage. The cartels, drug lords, and even our own politicians enable the child sexual slavery that is more prominent now than ever before." End quote. Now, I'll add to the list of enablers most of the media, as I mentioned earlier. Now, just a random thought about this movie. This movie actually reminded me of that series Narcos on Netflix. Now, that likely had a lot to do with the fact that they do play a lot of Latin music in this movie. Also, this movie it also looks a lot like, or not looks a lot, but it has the same vibe as Traffic with Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones and Benicio del Toro. So this movie is like a movie margarita with salt, blended, not on the rocks. Well, it's a day that ends in Y, and so, of course, I have to ask you to follow or subscribe to this channel, and then also hit that like button down there, that like button, that persuasive, tempting like button down there. Go ahead and click on that, the thumbs up on YouTube, and might be the thumbs up on Rumble as well. Pardon me. Also, hit that notification bell down there as well to get notified when a hot, fresh, sizzling, piping hot new episode of Movies Merica is ready just for you, okay? And then also get in the comments down below I want to hear from you there. Comment about anything your heart desires, okay? You could comment about Sound of Freedom, about any movie you want, whatever you want to comment to me about, okay? All right? Now, keep it nice because I'm kind of fragile and delicate, okay? Nah, go crazy. Yeah, let me have it. And then also, go to tdpn.locals.com, and that's where you can see all kinds of great content from me and Ian and Sean, the unholy trinity that is the Till Death Podcast Network. And we have videos out there and blogs and articles, all kinds of stuff about movies and entertainment, hot button sizzling issues of the day, politics, cocktail recipes, that kind of thing out there. And so you're going to get content out there that you won't get anywhere else, period. Okay? And also, hey, vote in the BANNY'S or vote for the BANNY'S. Now, what are the BANNY'S? The BANNY'S are our future award show where we'll be handing out awards called the BANNY'S, okay? And we've got categories you can vote for that are categories like the most canceled sports figure, the most canceled TV, movie personality. So there's 6 categories like that, okay? And all you got to do is just click on the BANNY'S link in the description down below, and you just vote. And it only takes like a minute to vote. And they're fun categories, okay? Very fun categories to vote in. Again, takes like 60 seconds tops, okay? Like Nick Cage, you'll be gone in 60 seconds, okay? So yeah, vote for the BANNY'S, and you can vote however often you want. Go nuts, go crazy, go psycho, and vote as often as you like for the BANNY'S. All right, let's move on. All right, well, as we wrap up this episode, I am going to steal from the late, great Jerry Springer, as usual, and give you my final thoughts about Sound of Freedom. Now, first off, this is a must-see movie. End of story, period, okay? But I do have to say that it is a little longer than it needed to be. I can pick out at least a few scenes where they could have shortened it up to speed up and electrify the pace. Also, it is a slow burn, so be prepared for that. It won't take you long to realize that Michael Bay did not direct this movie, okay? And also, it does remind me of like an 80s era conspiracy thriller, but in a good way, okay? So, yeah, check out this movie. Definitely go check it out and tell your family and friends about it. And again, if you want to go check it out for free, if you can't afford to go see it, just Google Sound of Freedom free tickets, and you'll get directed to the right place just for that. All right, everybody? So, as always, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got a popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'm gonna be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right. Thanks for watching.